Hi everyone, welcome to our coffee break sessions, where we talk about social topics over one or several coffees. Today we'll be talking about e-reputation and how the role of e-reputation is very important for your online conversation with consumers. I'm Bram Huijer from Social Cedar. Today I invited my friend Nico Tempelare.
Hi.
He's the expert on how e-reputation evolved and what it's currently doing for a lot of brands. So today we will go into depth on what it means to have a good e-reputation and what you can get out of it. So Nico, can you explain a bit who you are, what you do?
Okay. First of all, thank you for the invitation, Bram. My name is Nico. I have about 20 years of experience in PR, communication, marketing, and the last couple of years mainly digital and social media. So I was CEO of a social media agency until end of last year, and that's quite breaking news. I just launched now my own new unique concept called Voicy, or for the French-speaking people, Voici.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. So what does it mean? It's a concept where we offer social customer service for brands, for companies who do not have their own resources, or due to crisis or campaign peaks or special events, they need extra support to be active on the social media platforms.
Mm-hmm.
And as you can see, the 24/7 social butler means really that we can get in touch with the customer 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So mainly off-peak hours, evening, weekends, and if needed, also during the night. And I have an example that I will show you later.
Okay, sounds exciting. Okay, let's get into it and see how this talk will go. So we'll talk firstly about the revolution of e-reputation and what it's doing currently, I guess. Secondly, we will go to how brands need to tackle the radical change, because I think what you are doing fits in the whole digital transformation process. So let's see how it fits over there. And as a third, we will check the evolution and importance of e-reputations and strategies. Also, the way consumers use social media to interact with brands and organizations, how brands need to change their way of talking via social media, and some practical cases of e-reputation and social media care. Okay, let's go. But before we go, we have a small poll going on because we're pretty curious on what do you think of the next question, or what's important for you. Do you already have an e-reputation strategy? We already have some expectation of what the result will be, but I'm still curious on how many people will have this already integrated in their strategy. We have currently still the votes going on. Okay, let's see. So the results, 30% voted. We got 30% who do have a strategy for this, but still 67% doesn't have an e-reputation strategy. I think this is a little bit what we expected, no?
Yeah, this is in line with what we see, and I think what is important, and we will see it in the next slides, there's a big difference between what happens in other parts of the world, in the US,
Mm-hmm.
compared to Europe, where we always come a bit later.
Mm-hmm.
And in America, for example, you see more 50-50. But here it's indeed 1/3 of the companies, small or large, who do not even have the reputation strategy. And the figures later on will show that this is not good.
Okay. And why do we think that these companies don't have a strategy already? Is it also the same tale as a digital transformation tale, where they are still afraid to have the presence online, do you think, to the situations that could bring hard times for a community manager, or they don't know how to react, those kind of things?
Well, I think there are several things. First of all, when you talk about digital transformation processes, there are a lot of things.
Of course.
So it's not only about this.
No.
Some companies they put priorities also because of budgets or resources. But in fact, when you think about e-reputation, this is really key. It's surprising still that a lot of brands or companies do not focus more on this part first before they do other things. Especially when you look at figures where half of the population is active on social media, you cannot avoid this thing anymore. But the second thing I see is that it depends where you put e-reputation, which department is taking care of that. Is it marketing? Is it communication? Is it more within digital or somewhere else? And I think it's also linked to the expertise of the person, the position, or the department taking part of that.
True. We have some slides for this. Let's see. So this is all about the revolution of e-reputation. What are we seeing here, Nico?
Well, you see three different parts. On the left side, it's more about the evolution of customer service. So customer service has three parts. It's telephone, it's email, and now also social. And what you see on the left side is the past, that is in a lot of companies still the present. And how it should change soon, which means, for example, not 9 to 5, but 24 hours. Just to give a quick example, when I look back at my own situation, I have children. Before 9 o'clock in the evening, I have no time to sit in the sofa with my wife to look for the next holiday destination.
Of course.
And at that time, when you start looking around on the web, and you have questions, there is nobody answering you. Yes, you might have some chatbots nowadays, but there is no person really taking care of you. So when you don't find the answer here and you go to another website and you find the answer there, you might choose to go to this place. So it has also business consequences. So I think what has to change for sure, and that's what Voicey will offer, is really 24/7 service to customers, to people who are online when they need and when they have to be online. And it's often not within the working hours. So that's the first thing. And I think the two others are showing that more and more people are using social media to complain, to ask questions. What is quite interesting is to see on the right side, and this is focused on Facebook, is where people go most to Facebook for customer service.
We're still before the wave.
Yeah, we're still before the wave. This is a figure from a good 1 year ago already. But when you look at, for example, European countries, we don't have the same percentage than the one in India, in China, and so on.
But that's where we're going, of course.
We are going there. And I think you can also see it in your personal life that you're also going more and more to social media.
I really think, because you said the 24/7 is already really important for me, because people can shop 24/7. There's no service 24/7, so that's not an equal measure. So again, for me, if I see myself as a consumer, I'm looking at examples of Zalando, I'm looking at examples of Coolblue. Those people are really already 24/7 with their service, have an awesome tone of voice, and the impact it has on me, it's like when I have this personal positive experience with a brand, I'm already the first one to tell my social media network, I'm the first one to tell my friends, and I'll be sure shopping there again. It's pretty easy for me as a 29-year-old who shops frequently online, and I think that's a pretty important strategy to have.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go on. Another question. Let's see, what is it this time? Did you ever ask a company for support via social media? So for me, that's definitely a yes. Did you already?
I did it for professional and personal reasons, of course. Mainly during travel and
mystery
retail,
shopping, a little mystery shopping.
little mystery shopping to see how good or how bad brands are taking care of me.
Of course, yeah.
So
I'm really curious. I think the numbers will be high. I hope they're high. Yeah,
well,
there we go, 87%. Yeah, it's a normal response, of course.
Well, I think we cannot compare this poll with, for example, a poll 1 year ago, but you will see already a difference. And it's also something you see in the media, that people write articles about famous people going to social to complain about something, and then it's a whole story. So everybody is starting to do the same, because they know, okay, if I write an email, it will take maybe 1 or 2 days. When I call, I have to wait 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and I want my answer now. So I go to social, and on social you will see the difference, because it's public. So and I think more and more people are seeing this opportunity, which is sometimes also a danger for a brand if you don't take care of it.
Yeah, of course.
So,
okay, let's see some more numbers. Customer service is undergoing a major evolution. Can you elaborate a bit?
Yeah, so which I already explained just before this, is that people go more and more to social, to ask questions or to complain. So for a brand, for an organization, it's changing everything, because before it was more private, one-to-one conversation, and now it's public. So if you don't take care of this person, other people can see that. So, and it's changing your reputation or your sentiment from maybe something positive to something negative. So in this slide here, you can see that it's changing also the whole business of customer service. And if you go to the next slide, it's also internally in companies. I don't know if the next slide can...
But if I can interrupt you, what for me is like really important in what you're saying is because we at Social Cedar, of course, do ambassadorship, but there's a very strong link with ambassadorship in a sense of that we also have the common goal to create a experience between the brands, or a better word, even relation between the brands and its consumers or internal employees. So again, for us, it's very important to create that relation. And again, these people are going to vouch for you when they have this positive experience. When I see my friends having this positive experience, again, I see a post on social media with like 120 likes, just a reply from a company towards a customer that everybody liked. So that's great visibility.
Well, and then the best example, I think, is when you have a person with a question or a complaint and puts this on Facebook to a brand, and instead of the brand or the person from this organization answering, it's another customer answering. And sometimes, and that's also very good, of course, defending the brands and saying, no, that's not true. I have another experience. So when these kind of ambassadors take over the conversation, and then it's called more friends talk to friends than rather brands to consumer, then I think this is the best you can have.
Of course.
And I'm personally convinced that ambassadorship, employees or even external brand ambassadors taking this lead also in customer service can make a big difference in your sentiments, in the positive sentiment for brands.
Okay, we got a question. Gerben de Moor. Customer service through social media is very important for web shops, etc., and big companies generating large numbers of traffic to their pages. But it's very important to have a 24/7 customer service for small digital agencies, for example. How do you see customer service for smaller companies which might not have the resources?
That's why Voice exists. We can help, of course, these type of companies. Well, when you don't have these internal resources, there are external experts who can help you. people who will be trained, because you get to know a bit the brands and the company, and you need to feel how social works and how customer service works, and then depending on the request from a company, you just add, for example, a person who works 5 hours a day for these type of companies, and then can be during the evening, can be during the weekend. So it doesn't matter if it's small or large. I think the most important thing is that every type of company has to be convinced about the need of good customer service online.
I especially think, like, for smaller companies, it could be their edge above bigger companies that are not doing it, and that's the big difference. I think so.
Well, to be honest, and we have an example soon. The worst examples are often in big companies.
Yeah.
And this is maybe surprising, but it's a reality today. So yes, you can maybe make the difference as a smaller company instead of a big one.
I do think so.
So, but a good question.
Okay, cool. Let's move forward.
So yeah, this next slide, what I want to say is that the role of social media is changing and has changed already a little bit. While today or yesterday it was more like outbound, I put content, relevant content to my audiences. Now you see more inbound social media used for customer service. And the consequence is also that what I saw, because I was at a big international travel event last week in Berlin, ITB Fair, a lot of companies are now putting customer service in HR and communication department rather than marketing digital department. And that's a big change that we see also in Europe already. But it happened already in the US some years ago.
Okay, that's interesting. Let's see the next slide. 2 examples, I guess.
Yeah, well, again, US driven because they are more professional nowadays. Dropbox and Uber, I think we all know these type of companies. They are using social customer service really within a 24/7 approach. And they are very happy, and they also see that consumer is showing a more positive sentiment than before when they didn't take care of that. And what you see here to companies from the US, I'm sure that soon we can have a lot of examples in Europe as well.
Yeah, because I perceive Dropbox and Uber as very likable companies, and it's just because I only heard good things of them from my friends, from myself, from online. I had some experience with their support, as well as Dropbox, as well as Uber, and yeah, they're just awesome, and that's something I value a lot.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that the products or the services they are offering are better than others.
No.
It's just about the perception, about the image that you create by doing an excellent customer service.
Doing the effort.
Yeah.
So the revolution of e-reputation. Let's see what we have here. 95% of business indicate their customer care has a direct impact on a brand image. That's of course what we were telling. People spend 3 to 20% more when they get a response to their queries. I do believe this in the sense of I think you will have a lot of more returning customers also. See, increase of Twitter by 250% in 2014. Yeah, because Twitter, I think, is the channel for quick and short messages. And I think indeed for support-wise, a quick tweet to a brand can help you forward. And again, it helps the brand also for a short message. So it's easily to reply in short and get things moving. So understandable.
Something important to explain here is because you see figures from 2014, 15, and 16.
Yeah.
These are figures from the US. And again, what happens in the US a few years ago is happening now in Europe. So that's why I still think it's important to show this. because this might be the figures in 2018 here. But already when you see this type of figures, it shows really the importance and the rapidly growth of social media customer service. And how brands really need to work on that.
I'm looking at the far right slide with the millennials, baby boomers, and Gen X. I really think that the latest generation is not gonna like take it anymore. That they can't like instantly get what they need in a sense of buying things, of course, but that's already here. But like the customer support also. So yeah. Let's move to the next one.
I think the next one is mainly showing that brands and consumers are not at the same level. I often call it the 1.0 and the 2.0. Customers or consumers are online and they expect from brands these responses and quick instant responses. But brands are not often at the same page. Think about my example from the 9 o'clock looking at the next travel destination. But when you see on the right side what are the branding benefits if you do it well, then this shows really a big business indication. And I think what you see here is really key. If you do it well, it will influence your results.
Yeah, it's funny how I can relate with the yellow parts of the slide. It's like exactly me, in a sense of that indeed I also advocate for brands where I have good experience from. I go back to the brands where I have good experience from. I tell my friends. So indeed, that's exactly me. But I'm quite surprised about the left slide because indeed, one response given for every 23 promotional messages. That's quite frightening to be honest.
Well, again, and it also depends who in a company is taking care of social media.
Of course.
Is it marketing with pressure from sales or digital with pressure from sales? Then it will be more promotional. If it's more from an HR department, then you will see that the content will be completely different, and they will take care more of the person who is connecting with you.
Of course.
You need both. I'm not against that. But when people have questions or complaints, even though you don't have right away the answer for him or her, still reply and say, hey, sorry for this, or thank you for your message. I'm in contact now with this department and we will take care of it and come back to you. So already at that stage, you have a relationship, and that's the most important. But there are, and you see this in the infographic, that some brands never answer to consumers' questions. And then me as a consumer, I feel very negative because they don't care about me. And of course, I did it also with a bit of mystery shopping behind it. But when I did it myself, and I connected twice with a retailer company and a big name, they never replied to me for something important. Then I say, no, this is not true. I go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then when I looked at the way they were structured, they didn't have people taking care of social customer service because they were too busy with calls, with emails, and they were understaffed. But when more and more people are online, you also have to think and change your model. And that's this digital transformation process we were talking about.
And what I'm thinking of, it's not only online, but like if you have your internal employees. I worked for 8 years for a telecommunication company, and a lot of my friends were asking questions regarding that specific provider towards me. And I knew not how to handle those questions. And if I didn't know, I needed a channel or I needed to be aware on how I could help myself to explain my friends that I could help them or not help them. So I think that's what you are saying also needs to be applied to your internal employee strategy, that everyone can be their own advocate and be or protect the e-reputation or general reputation of the company, because it's really valuable.
Correct. Okay. Well, I found this one recently, and I was very surprised. Decathlon is quite big company, proud to show on their website that they now have social media platforms where they will answer your questions. But, and that's what I put here in the blue part, is that you need to give Decathlon 3 days to answer all the questions. 3 hours, I would say yes. 1 day still depends on the channel, but 3 days that you don't do.
Yeah.
I think here you see that they are working on e-reputation. They want to be active, but they don't do it the right way.
But I also think it gives them a lot of work, because if it were me, okay, I have the patience to wait 1 day, but at the second day I will call, and the third day I will call again. So that's 3 times I'm calling in. So the inflow is going to be huge. And I think if you can solve the problem on the spot, it will decrease.
Well,
maybe
plus the sentiment.
Yeah,
maybe the first time you have a question, you are positive about the bike that you want to buy at Decathlon, but you have some questions about the delivery. And then no answer. Okay, the second day you call and you have to wait 10 minutes because there are 10 people also waiting for a question. And then suddenly you go from positive to very negative, which is a pity. And maybe at the end you will not buy this bike over there and you go somewhere else. And on top of that, and nowadays people do that as well, they will complain on social media and say, hey, this customer service sucks. And this is not how I want to be treated. So, and I think this is just one example of how you have to do it. It's not you do it or you don't do it. I don't think you have the choice, but it's mainly how you do it and how intense you take care of that. And I think this brings us to our next poll.
Let's see. So the question is, when is your company active with social customer service? During the normal working hours, day plus evening, or day plus evening plus weekend, or 24/7? I'm also really curious about this one.
Maybe there is a fourth one where you don't take care of it.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
Let's hope that everybody is still doing a little bit of online customer service.
Let's see. Most voted for during the normal working hours from 9 to 5. Second most is day plus evening plus weekend, so that's already pretty intense. And only one person voted for 24/7. What do you think of this?
Well, logical. I think here you see that this is part of how companies work nowadays. They have their resources working during the day, and during the evening it's not possible. And this is the opportunity and also the threat if you don't take care of that.
Yep.
And I'm not surprised to see this, but already there is a change. You see already some companies who start to understand and start to work also during the weekends. Of course, it depends on the industry. When you're in the travel, on the retail, it's different. But you have to think about, where is my potential customer and when is he or she active, and when does he or she has the time to search or to get in contact with me. And it's often not during the working hours, but evening and weekends.
Okay. Again, I think this slide is another example of how intense people use social media to communicate toward brands. And the expectation is getting there. 63 is is a high number already, but I think it's going to be even higher currently.
Indeed.
So 70% of people are more likely to use a brand's product when being reached out on social, of course. 39% of consumers actively provide feedback to organizations online. I think that's also a very important bit. I think that feedback loop from consumers towards brands is important, that also the brand feels they're doing good and really feels the impact of it also, so that they can progress in the right way.
I think you're completely right. And what is key here is the tracking of all these interactions from brand to consumer, from consumer to brands, and the feedback in general. So also make use of these type of platforms that provide you with all this information, so you can see sentiment. Is it positive, neutral, or negative? Are people really talking about me, first of all? And when they are talking about me, are they talking in a positive way, neutral way? And then you can also segment in the type of is it about the product? Is it about the people? Is it about other things? I think this is very important.
Are there like platforms we can name?
Oh yeah, well, you don't have hundreds, of course, but I think there are a few ones that are important to mention. The big players: Spark Central, CX Social, Falcon. These are the bigger ones I also work with. The first two, CX Social, before named Engager and Spark Central, are Belgian. They started as Belgian companies, but they moved fast to the other side of the ocean, to San Francisco. But they are big players, and they really give you all the information, the tracking about what people are saying about me online.
Okay, it's important. Let's move on ahead. Okay, business case, Brussels Airport.
Well, just to give this one as a last example as well of what we are doing. Unfortunately, the start was not that nice because it was right after the terrorist attack in Brussels Airport. They asked to give them support in the beginning, email and social media, because they had thousands of questions or complaints left and right. And this is also showing a bit the business model of Voicy, where for Brussels Airport we help them during three types of crisis situation, like a strike or the snowfall from last week. Peaks holiday is one of them, or other type of events, and we help them with replying on the social media platforms. And this work is done by our social care experts. I call them the social butlers, often millennials. Sometimes brand ambassadors, because they know, of course, the brands. They are very positive about the brands and they are ready to help. Or industry experts. And maybe the next slide is interesting to show, because that's at the end is what you want to achieve, is that people, without you pushing, are happy that you help them. In a fast way, often, especially in this case, because people are on the go, they are in the airports, or they are on the way to the airport, they have questions about parking, about their flights, and they are replying themselves and say, hey, thank you, you really took care of me, I succeed to catch my flight. And then the second level is that people start to like this type of messages. And that, for me, is the strength of e-reputation. Once you are at this stage, you're doing good. And I think this is a very good example. Well, it started in a negative way with the terrorist attack. But now, 2 years later, we are still working for them, and they are extending also their customer service, which is very interesting, because they see really the added value, and they receive the positive feedback. So their sentiment is much better now than 2 years ago.
Okay, well done, Brussels Airport, and well done, Voicy.
Thank you.
Okay, I think we are coming to the end of our webinar or coffee break today. We will have a small Q&A for me and Nico.
Okay.
If anyone has any questions regarding presentation, either for Nico or either for me, feel free to ask it. Lisbeth has a question. Do you have recommendations to put help desk via social media in practice in a company? Context, we are a manufacturing company working with distributors. Our help desk is currently offering support to distributors B2B and is afraid of getting questions of end users.
Well, getting afraid,
that's a typical thing, I think.
That's a typical thing that you see left and right. Well, you know, you have to open it. You have to go on social because it works on both sides. If you don't do it, people, here it's called the end user, will do it themselves, and then it's gone in a negative way. Or you do it proactively and you offer this service and you say, hey, you can also reach us on social media platform and we will take care of your question. It is always the afraid that stops a lot of organizations to start with it. But when you look at the figures and the number of people, even though if you are B2B or especially B2C, you know that people one day will reach you on a social platform if they don't get the answer on a normal help desk or email or phone conversation. So don't be afraid, just prepare yourself and make a good model, a good SLA, good communication workflow for your internal team or for your external agency you work with. So we all know exactly what we can say and how fast we have to say the different things. So, but again, don't be afraid because when you are afraid, at the end, one day it will be open online and then it will be worse.
Yeah, that's the thing. Everybody or every company is going there or has to go there, and being afraid is you want to be afraid and move forward, but standing still and not growing is going to be your problem in the end. So indeed,
see it as an opportunity, not as a threat.
Correct. Do we have any more questions? And there's also a survey of our webinar today that you can fill in if you enjoyed it or if you would like to come sit over here. We can leave feedback to join us in the social cedar corner. The next webinar will be explained, coming here, sitting next to me, on how to use data to create impact on social media through video content. Also sounds nice. One more question. Are the slides available? Yeah, of course. We will be sending the slides maybe later today or tomorrow. The video also will be appearing online if you want to rewatch it. Feel free to contact Nico also if you have any questions. Contact details of Nico are also in the slide. Or if you have any remainder questions from me, feel free to contact me. Okay, Nico, it was a pleasure. It was fun.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming over.
Time.
Awesome.
It was very nice.
I will see you guys next time and have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.